Carolina Panthers. Adam Thielen, the highest tiered wide receiver in this group. I don't think there's a lot of high expectations for anyone in this passing game.
I think this might be the worst receiver core in the league. The guy who's interesting to me here, he's a classic rookie receiver, might pop in the back half of the year. It's Jonathan Mingo.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
How about the Carolina Panthers? Adam Thielen, the highest tiered wide receiver in this group. Again, he's in that tier 7. Just to reiterate, tier 7 features Nico Collins, Isaiah Hodgins, Cortland Sutton, Van Jefferson, Jacoby Myers, Michael Thomas, Curtis Samuel, and Michael Gallup. Adam Thielen as the highest tiered wide receiver in tier number 7, Matt. What are your expectations here? Look, obviously they're not very high, and I don't think there's a lot of high expectations for anyone in this passing game. But what do you think about Adam Thielen? It appears, at least from a roster construction standpoint, he's got to be the top target getter in a Carolina Panthers uniform.
Yeah, and I don't think Adam Thielen is totally cooked. I think he is definitely a declined player, but I think Thielen is going to play a big role, and I think he might play like all 3 receiver positions, because DJ Chark is a pure outside guy. Terrace Marshall is a pure outside guy. I think this might be the worst receiver core in the league, though, just on paper right now heading into week 1. I mean, again, we're talking about Adam Thielen. That's not great. Like DJ Chark is a one-trick pony. He's a ball winner downfield. He's not, I mean, his reception perception really discouraging the last 2 to 3 years, in decline. Everybody still talking about DJ Chark he runs a 4.3. Well, he ran a 4.3 about 6 ankle injuries ago. Okay. So, he doesn't, let me tell you, he doesn't run no damn 4.3 anymore.
Good call.
Or at least he's not, he turns like a battleship at this point. Terrace Marshall, I do think Terrace Marshall, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if, like, by the end of the year, Terrace Marshall, who I'm not that big of a fan of, he hasn't shown very well in the NFL, but like I think he could play the X receiver spot ahead of a DJ Chark at some point. But because this receiver core is so wide open, the guy who's interesting to me here, and I'm not drafting him because like he's a classic rookie receiver, might pop in the back half of the year. It's Jonathan Mingo. Big fan of Jonathan Mingo as a prospect. Okay. I compared him to like an Amon-Ra St. Brown type in his pre-draft prospect profile. In reception, big time guy that can separate underneath, but can win downfield and is a bully after the catch. Sounds a lot like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, I loved in reception perception as a prospect, but noted that he was playing out of position outside for USC. Mingo, I think similarly, is probably going to play inside. He's probably going to play off the line of scrimmage. And then we're talking about a guy, if he develops similar to like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think Mingo is probably more explosive downfield at his peak than Amon-Ra St. Brown is. But like St. Brown we talked about him developing against man press coverage in his second season, and we know the type of second season he had. But I wouldn't be surprised if like Mingo, because this receiver core is so up in the air, like it's not going to be week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Jonathan Mingo. But if it's like week 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, that I could see being the time when Jonathan Mingo rises. So he's not a guy I'm drafting, but he's a guy that I'm keeping on waiver wire speed dial, if that makes sense.
All rookie wide receivers usually take that at least a 6-week period, right? To start popping from a production standpoint. But I want to go back to that, and I want to challenge that just a little bit, just because I've got some follow-up questions there. When I watch Jonathan Mingo play, I see a guy who is very raw. And when I saw Amon-Ra St. Brown play, to me, I'm like, okay, this guy can run routes. This guy is absolutely a polished route runner for a collegiate player. I love the fact that they both attack the ball in the air. So I see the similarities there. Very aggressive with the football, playing it once it's in the air, which is I love that. I love that about Mingo. But you're right. I think he's got a little bit more juice after the catch. But I want to go back to the route running part. That's what surprises me. When you start talking about Mingo versus Amon-Ra St. Brown, I say Mingo is a much more, moldable clay. Somebody that, again, if he gets that work ethic going in the right direction, man, he starts, building those skill sets up, man, like this guy could be an absolute problem. But I just don't see it for 2023 but maybe I'm wrong, man. Tell me where you're at with Mingo in terms of route running.
So the St. Brown comparison is kind of more of a role comparison. Like I think that might be the ideal role for him where, they moved St. Brown a ton around pre-snap. Like you can see snaps of Jonathan Mingo in college, like blocking his ass off as a tight scrimmage player, he's a physical player. He's certainly somebody that like can win as a blocker. Like I think he might have been the best blocking receiver in the draft. And, this is a team that I do think wants to run the ball a lot. By the way, they're a team that's going to throw the ball to the running back a lot. I don't care what Miles Sanders like receiving work looks like with Jalen Hurts as his quarterback.
Yeah,
right. With this receiver core and with the money they gave him, they're throwing him the ball like 60 to 70 times this year. And we'll see how it works out for them. They have to. So, but with Mingo, I think he's going to block really well there. And that's why I'm saying he's a back half of the year candidate. And even then, I'm not saying he's going to put up a ton of production, but I think that's the time of year where he's going to be playing a lot. And that's when you're going to want to chase that production. Last note, I'll just say on the work ethic part, you ready for a name drop here? Look out. Close personal friend, Steve Smith.
Panthers,
yes. He's very high on his like tenaciousness, ethic ability, and what he's gonna like. The dog, they love. I'm telling you this for a fact. They love Mingo in Carolina. They're all in on his talent. They took him very high and aggressively in the draft. Like I agree with you. He is a developmental player a little bit. I think they're gonna like experiment with the role for him. I don't think he's going to be an X receiver, but I think if you're moving him around pre-snap, that you can get some good advantageous matchups as he refines his route running.